Welcome into 12 for 12. 12 minutes, 12 topics. Let's start with Kansas football because it's never too early to talk about football. This year, David Beatty, in his first full recruiting class, brought in, you can talk about it. The most helpful part of the class was 12 recruits from the state of Texas, only 2 from Kansas. The class features standout wide receiver Keegan Brewer, who had a good spring game, and also quarterback Carter Stanley, who may find himself in the quarterback battle depending on injuries to Ryan Willis's wrist. Now, what does this mean for 2016? Well, as far as newcomers go, the best one may not even be a freshman. It may be Laquiviante Gonzalez, the receiver transferred from Texas A&M, who played under David Beatty. Now, for the 2016 season, this may mean some upgrades to the passing game in the new air raid offense that David Beatty is trying to bring in and infuse into the team. They'll start out with Rhode Island in 2016, an FCS team that went 1-11, and if they don't beat Rhode Island in the first game, they're just going to have to cut the program.
Kansas men's golf made program history this weekend in Iowa, competing in the Iowa Hawkeye Invitational, winning their 4th title of the season. That's the most in program history. 4 of the 5 golfers on the team got in the top 10 in the results, and Dan Hudson had his best career low round of 66 on Sunday. They put him in a tie for 3rd. Connor Peck now had his 8th round under par, and Charlie Hero, the freshman from New Zealand, the top recruit in Coach Bermel's class from last year, his 4th round under par on the season. And so going forward, they're going to lose 2 seniors in Ben Welly and Connor Peck, but their young players just keep maturing and getting a lot better. As far as the women's golf team, not very good. They shoot way over par, but the one bright spot, Upaporn Copacorn, Mook, they call her, she shoots under par, and she's won 5 individual titles this season, so that is also a program record for a single person in the golf program.
So on to KU basketball, and they added a stud in Josh Jackson. Jackson was the best uncommitted player. He's a terrific athlete at 6'8". I expect him to slide right into Wayne Selden's role at the small forward position. And he's not Andrew Wiggins talent-wise, but I think they had similar playing styles, and they might try to use them the same way. And the only question for me is if he'll be able to pick up self-system both offensively and defensively. We've sort of seen some high-caliber players come in the last few seasons and sort of struggle out of the gates to get going. But I think with Sfeed Mikhailov coming back, and also Carlton Bragg, I think it's set up. There's a lot of talent still on this team, and I expect them to win another Big 12 title next year and make it to the Final Four.
In the NBA playoffs, not a lot of great matchups in the first round, but the second round looks like a lot of really good series will happen. Right now, Golden State leads Houston 2-0 in the series. Another good one is Cleveland-Detroit, and that is 1-0 as of right now. The West is looking like a lot of great matchups and close teams, but the East, not so much. Look for Cleveland to dominate that area, and Golden State versus San Antonio is looking to be the Western Conference Final, which will pretty much be a de facto NBA Finals with the best 2 teams facing off. And there's a couple NBA playoff games tonight, but one of the other best games so far is San Antonio versus Memphis in the Western Conference.
Continuing on with NBA playoffs, Golden State, can they do it? They just had a record-breaking season, 73 wins, better than the 96 Bulls. But could they win the title? In my opinion, no. Here's what they're going to come up against. San Antonio, the team with the best defensive efficiency rating in the NBA, one of 2 teams allowing under 100 points in that rating. Now, also second in the NBA in defensive rebounding rate. Golden State, 19th in offensive rebounding rate. Greg Popovich wants to beat the Golden State Warriors. He said he doesn't like the way they play. He doesn't like how they win. He wants to come up against them. He wants to beat them. He knows how to beat them. San Antonio is the exact type of team that can beat Golden State home or away because San Antonio's game travels. Golden State's may not. It'd be a pretty hot take to say that Golden State won't go on to finish off what they started by winning an NBA title after a historic regular season, but San Antonio is the exact team to prevent them from doing that.
With the regular season coming to an end and the NBA playoffs in full swing now, the NBA has dished out some of their awards for the regular season. First, starting off with the Six-Man Award that went to Jamal Crawford, the 16-year NBA veteran. And he made NBA history by winning this award for the third time. He averaged 26.9 points per game, averaged 14.2 points per game, 2.3 assists, in 26.9 minutes. And then Kawhi Leonard got Defensive Player of the Year. He was the first non-center to win the award back-to-back seasons since 1996, and Dennis Rodman. And like Griff said, they're number one defensive efficiency and a very good defensive team overall. As far as MVP goes, it for sure has to be Steph Curry. I mean, that guy is not human. He's a video game. Can hit it from anywhere on the court. And even despite his injury problems right now, being questionable for Game 3 tonight, he was going to come through and win that award.
Well, a legend of the game is now gone. Kobe Bryant has played in his final NBA game after 20 seasons, all with the Los Angeles Lakers. It was a game for the ages. He scored 60 points, which was the most in the NBA this year. Yes, he took 50 shots, but everyone wanted him to shoot in his final game. The teammates, the crowd, all the celebrities that were there, they were all behind him trying to push through his physical fatigue he had, because at 37, he played the entire second half. You could see visually how tired he was throughout the game. But yet, he came through like he always does in the end and hit vintage Kobe, clutch shot after clutch shot, pull-up jumper after pull-up jumper. And he's going to go down as one of the greatest players ever to play the game, maybe the greatest scorer ever to play the game, and quite possibly the greatest Laker ever between him and Magic Johnson. So Kobe, thank you for all that you have done.
For the NBA draft, it looks like the draft will allow Thon Maker to enter, and he's projected to go in the middle of the first round. As for the Jayhawks, it's not looking too promising for a lot of the players that are entering the draft. Wayne Selden is projected by a lot of places to go very late first round or second round. Brandon Green does not look to be drafted in this one. Other than that, Sheck Diallo doesn't seem to be going very high either. Diallo was a great prospect coming into college to be moving on to the NBA, and he'll find a team, but based off of what he did in college and how much he's shown as a player at this point, it doesn't look too promising for him to go very high in the draft.
Let's transition back to football, this time at the professional level. And in a move that didn't shock a lot of people, the LA Rams, now LA Rams, moved up to take the number 1 overall pick from Tennessee. So now the Rams will have to decide who they're going to use that pick on. So lots of experts are thinking quarterback. Does that mean Jared Goff or Carson Wentz? I think it means Jared Goff. Think about what this guy's dealing with. He fits into that role. He's from Nevada, California. He went to California, Berkeley. He's a California guy. Everyone says it. He embodies what it means to be from California. So who better to start this new franchise than a guy who embodies what it is to be from your state and to be from your city? On top of that, his numbers jump off the page. 363 yards per game, a completion percentage of around 65, a quarterback rating of 161, and 43 touchdowns in 2015. Completion percentage has risen every single year he's played, started every game of his college career. He's the man for the job in LA.
Let's stick with the pro sports here. But on the NHL side, they're also in the playoffs along with the NBA. And right now, 3 of the lower seeds are up in their series. That's Nashville, New York Islanders, and St. Louis Blues. Now, what's it take to win a Stanley Cup? It takes depth, balance, and goaltending. Right now, the leaders in that category are the Washington Capitals and Dallas Stars, who is my prediction to be in the Stanley Cup final. They have two of the best first lines in the NHL with Alex Ovechkin, TJ Oshie, Nicholas Backstrom, and Patrick Sharp, Jamie Benn. And then they have great goaltending as well. Braden Holtby, I've never seen him be this good before. The 3 years of experience he's had so far in the NHL has really helped him, and I think the Caps are going to bring this one out. But people are saying, people are asking me as a Blackhawks fan why I don't think they're going to win. It's because they have most of their scoring coming from one line, and you need to have more balanced effort scoring to get the goals and produce the points needed to win a game.
So we're just over 2 weeks into the regular season of the 162-game grind that is the baseball season. The world champion Royals are off to a pretty solid start at 8-4. The offense hasn't really taken off quite yet, but the pitching has been pretty solid. The only thing they're still trying to figure out is the back end of the bullpen. Who's going to pitch the eighth? Is it going to be Joaquim Soria or Kelvin Herrera? I expect them to figure that out fairly shortly. Much of the story for the first week of the regular season was Trevor Story. He had 7 home runs in the first week of the season, but he's sort of fallen off since then. He has a lot of strikeouts, 22 and 55 at-bats. And some of the powerful AL favorites like the Astros and the Blue Jays have sort of struggled out of the gates as well. While the Nationals and Cubs have really solidified themselves as favorites.
Sporting Kansas City had 2 games last week and lost both of them. A loss to the Colorado Rapids by a score of 2-1 made things look pretty bad. And then a loss at the weekend against FC Dallas made things just a whole lot worse. Sporting played really terribly in both of those games, and it's something that we're not really used to seeing so far this season. The loss to the Rapids was a loss to a team that is not very high in the standings, but the loss to FC Dallas actually isn't so bad because FC Dallas is really looking like the best team in the league so far. FC Dallas has 5 wins. They're at the top of the table. They're the best team in the league statistically, and they have a lot of great players that are scoring goals and making big impacts in games for them.